Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. We're celebrating National or International Scrapbooking Day. I tried to look it up to see which one it was, and apparently it's both. So I may call it national or international, just depending on what my brain is telling me at the second. But we thought we'd come on and do some fun, crafty things for the day. And we have some fun prizes along the way, as well as some deals over at pinkandmain.com. I will tell you a little bit about my story and my crafty journey as we go along. But let's go down to the table here. It just takes me a second to change my camera. There we go. And hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining in, everyone. I thought I would make a scrapbook page. I haven't scrapbooked in a long time, but my paper crafting journey really started with scrapbooking back in the 90s. A coworker of mine invited me to a scrapbooking party, and I thought it looked like lots of fun, but I wasn't crazy about what was offered and the style. So I just went out and I started searching for things that I could do to make it my own. And I just started scrapbooking in the 90s. It wasn't too long after that someone shared a stamping catalog with me, rubber stamps. And once I started stamping and card making, I was hooked. And I didn't really scrapbook quite as much. So we're going to do some foiling. And I thought I'd show you how you can use all your card making stuff in a little scrapbook page. It's really quite versatile. All these supplies that we have and we keep in our craft room, you can do lots of things with them. And we'll make some cards today as well. We've got Demo Donna joining us in a little while, and I know she's got some fun things for you too. So I'm going to be making an 8x8 scrapbook layout. I love that size. I have a lot of 8x8 albums, and I like the smaller size than the 12x12. It seems to be a little bit easier for me to deal with and fill the space, and it's closer to card size, right? So it makes it a little easier transition from cards to scrapbooking. So I've got an 8x8 piece of cardstock from our Evening Clouds cardstock. I've also got an 8 by about 4 1/4 of our Night Sky cardstock. And on top of that, I'm going to layer one of our floral backgrounds, the foilable sheets. And I want to do some ink blending on this as well as foil it with some of our new white foil. So our white foil is very unique. And it just adds, when you foil over an image like this, it just adds a little bit of a tone on tone look. But then we're going to ink blend on it, and it's going to look really pretty. That's the hope, at least. You always have it in your head, right, that things are going to come out so gorgeous. So I just dusted that foilable off, and I'm going to layer my white foil on top. You can see it's not 100% opaque, but it's just enough that it'll cover that toner ink really well. Let's turn our pink Mink machine on. And while that's heating up, I will tell you that we have some deals going on over at Pink and Main. So we got free gifts free with purchase. So as you add stuff to your cart, you will see free items add to your cart. We also have, if you enter the code NSD for National Scrapbook Day, all capital letters, NSD24, you're going to get free shipping within the U.S. with any order that's $35 or more. So we've lowered that free shipping threshold from $75 to $35, which I think is really cool. And then we'll do some giveaways a little bit later on. So make sure you leave a comment under the video so that we can choose our random winners. I'll talk about that in a bit. So with our Mink machine, you get a clear transfer folder and you get a square one. It's about 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. And that's great for all our card making stuff. That's typically what, I use for everything. But for our foilable sheets, I thought if I want to foil the whole sheet, I need something a little longer. So we offer at Pink and Main, we offer the original Mink transfer folders, and they are in a package. You get a smaller one, but you also get a big 12 by 12 one. And I don't need 12 by 12. It's not going to fit in my mini Mink machine here. So I cut the 12 by 12 in half. So I've got a 6-inch width. But then I cut a little bit of the length off because I don't need it 12 inches and I don't want to wait for those extra inches to run through my machine. So I cut it to 9 inches. That way I can fit our 5.5 by 8.5 foilable sheets through the Mink machine. So that's a good little tip. You can take those large Mink transfer folders and you can cut them in half so they'll work with the mini Mink machine, but then you've got a nice length so you can foil longer items. So let's go ahead and put this into our longer transfer folder and we'll run it through the Mink machine. I apologize if it looks like I'm doing some things upside down. My camera, the way it's mounted, it shows upside down with the software I'm using. So I'm going to try to show everything to you in the right direction. But if I forget, I apologize if it looks a little upside down. It does take a few more seconds for the longer one to go through the machine. And that's why I took the extra, 3 inches or so off from the 12-inch length because I don't usually foil anything 12 inches long and I don't want to wait for those extra inches to go through the machine. I hope everyone's enjoying your Saturday. All right, so we want to let this cool off just a bit, but you can already kind of see what it's going to look like. You want it to be cool when you do your peel and reveal. All right, here we go. There we go. So now I'm left with this negative piece, and we're going to use this piece later on to make a card. So how many of you out there are card makers as well as scrapbookers? I was saying in the beginning that I started with scrapbooking in the 90s, but have been such a card maker these past many years. Okay, so now we have our white foiled floral background, and I like this look. It's kind of tone on tone. It looks, you see the pattern of the flowers. It's pretty, but I thought we could add some ink to this background. Let me grab my blending brush. And underneath my foilable, I'm using just one of our stencil packaging. I like to use my packaging. It's the insert from one of our stencils, but I like to use that on my work surface just as a scratch piece of paper. That way I feel like I'm not just throwing it away. They're nice and sturdy and they make a good surface for ink blending on and things like that. So I've got our mini ergonomic blender brush and our dress shop ink pad. And I'm just going to start in a corner in a circular motion. I'm just going to add some ink to our foilable panel. And depending on how much ink I pick up on the brush and how hard I press down is how much ink we're going to get blending on here. You can do it as light or as dark as you want. I am not a pretty ink blender. How many of you struggle with blending ink? But I don't know, it always seems to work out. Our brushes are very easy to use. They're nice. They sit in your hands nice. They're easy to hold on to. So it does make it easier for me. I couldn't really use those longer handled brushes very easily. But with these, I get a lot better results. But the good thing about ink blending is it's very forgiving because your ink does settle out or settle down over as it dries, and it'll look much nicer as it dries. So I'm going to turn this around so I don't stick my arm in the area that I've already ink blended on. Our foilables paper has a bit of sheen to it, so you can ink blend over it with your dye-based inks. They may just take a few more seconds to dry than on a more porous piece of cardstock. So our white foil is a shiny white foil. It's not metallic, it's not iridescent or, you know, have a pearly or iridescent finish. It's just a white shiny foil. And it will resist some of this ink, but it also is being colored by the ink some. So I'm getting this really, really pretty look. I'm liking it. There we go. So when I'm done with my little blender brush, I usually just wipe it off on our microfiber cloth. You can use some of the Crafty cleaner on the cloth to help clean some of the ink off. And then I just put it away to use for next time. Let me put my ink pad away because I will definitely put my hand in it. Okay. Let's set some of this aside and let's finish foiling for our little scrapbook layout. And this is what my panel looks like. I hope the camera picks up how pretty that is. It almost made that white foil look a little lavender with the pink ink behind it. And I really like that because I'm using purple and lavender cardstock along with this. So I think this is going to turn out real pretty. All right, so I've got some of our pieces from our Amazing Butterflies foilable cut-ups. So our foilable cut-ups are really fun. I know some of you have tried them. If you haven't, I encourage you to get some to try. If you love foiling, they are images and sentiments that are ready to foil. They are pre-cut for you. So the Amazing Butterflies has butterflies and sentiments and some other images and icons, and they're lots of fun. So we're going to use some of those on our layout. I always double mat my photos when I scrapbook. So I've got a piece of white cardstock that's 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. So it's perfect for a 3 by 5 photo. And then I've got a 3 1/2 by 5 1/2, which is slightly larger piece of black toner sheet. And we're going to foil this, and we're going to have that edge of foil go around as like a layer behind our photo. So we always want to dust this off. All right, and we're going to foil this piece with our sparkle pink cheer foil. So it's a really pretty dark pink with lots of sparkles and stars and glitzy glitters in it. And that's going to look really pretty with our pink and purple layout that we're creating. So you can create your own foiled paper by just foiling the black toner sheets. And you can use them as is, or you can die cut them and make foiled die cuts. Lots of fun. Yeah, so when I started scrapbooking, I did some scrapbooks, scrapbook layouts, and a few albums for myself. And then I ran out of photos because I've never been like a huge photo taker. You know, back in the 90s, it was before cell phones, and we had a camera at our disposal every second. So I wasn't much of a photo taker, and I don't have any kids, so I didn't have kids stuff to scrapbook. So I started making scrapbook layouts for other people because I really enjoyed doing it. But once I ran out, ooh, look at that. Once I ran out of my own photos, of course I could have raided my mom's closet and got all my childhood photos, but that seemed a little bit overwhelming and daunting. So I just enjoyed scrapbooking for others, and I sold pre-made scrapbook layouts for a long time. Okay, so now we have our foiled photo mat, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere the white layer on top of that, and see, we'll have just enough sparkle and shine behind that. Really make the photo like pop off the page. Okay, so now we have our photo mat, and we have a few other things to foil. So I have also pulled out a piece of our pink teal ombre foil. I think all these colors go really well together. And our fairy wing silver. So let's foil some of these amazing butterfly cut-ups. I'm going to do this big heart here in the silver that has the butterflies around the heart. Okay, find the opening. There we go. And I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to move it up into the corner there so I have some extra foil in case I decide to make some other images the silver. And as I mentioned, we're making a smaller 8x8 scrapbook page. I really like the smaller pages because they're just slightly larger than cards. So I can kind of put them together like I put together my cards. And I don't feel like I have an overwhelming 12 by 12 sheet of paper that I have to fill. And although you can really only fit 1 or 2 small photos on an 8x8, or you could put even smaller photos sometimes, but I'm noticing the trend. It's been around for a long time. A lot of people use 12 by 12 pages, and they'll only put one photo on them. Okay, so here's our heart. We got a little blip over here, and I can see, yep, it's a piece of paper fuzz that I did not remove. So I have a little black spot on there, and I actually picked the fuzz off. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to cover that with a good piece of foil, and I'm going to run it back through. There's usually a fix to the little black specks that you get. So every now and then, even after I dusted that off, that little flake of paper. And you definitely want to dust off the foilable cut-ups because we cut these in-house, and the cutter creates a lot of paper dust around it. So we do our best to keep everything neat and clean, but you want to dust them off before you foil them, because any dust or debris in between the foil and the foilable will keep the foil from adhering. I'll let this cool a second. All right, perfect. So the foil adhered to my little black speck once I remove that dust. So now I have a completely foiled piece. So now let's foil the Have a Beautiful Day. And let's do one of our butterflies with this pink and teal cheer foil. So I'm going to put them in the folder, and I'm just going to dust them off. And what inspired me, so you can see, for this layout is I'm seeing lots of prom pictures on Facebook. Everybody's going to prom here recently. So I thought this would be a great scrapbook layout for something like a prom photo, or could be anything really, but it's just kind of pretty with the butterflies and the pinks and purples. So Nicole asked if you can use the cheer foil with the hot foil plates also. And you cannot use our cheer foil with hot foil plates. The only foil we have that'll work with the hot foil plates is our shattered clear. And that's because that clear foil has different properties than the rest of our cheer foil. but all of our other foils are meant for like transfer foil. Even though the Mink machine uses heat, it's different. Our foil needs something to stick to. It needs something sticky. So the hot foil plates, they use foil that the foil has an adhesive factor already in it. So it'll just stick to cardstock. But our foil needs something sticky to stick to. So it sticks to the toner because the toner ink actually melts a little bit with the heat of the Mink machine. So our foils are not for the hot foil plates. They're for transfer foiling with the Mink machine, or you can also use adhesive products with it. All right, here's our butterfly and our have a beautiful day. Love that with that pink, purple, and teal. And then I think I'll make the other two butterflies in the silver. It's harder to lose the pink and Maine dies because they're hot pink. You can always see them and notice them in your craft room. And then also you always know they go with your pink and Maine stamps. Okay, let's put just make sure on the back that they're not overlapping each other, and we'll run them through. You can run them through upside down or right side up. It really doesn't matter. The heat in the rollers will evenly distribute that heat to the foilables. Okay. Oh yes, that's a favorite thing about our dies also is they come cut apart. I can't stand cutting those little tabs off of dies, so I had to make sure our dies did not have them. I don't like those little cut apart things. And they always poke you too. They always seem to poke you. Okay, so now we have some beautiful iridescent fairy wing silver butterflies. I don't know which I like better, the silver ones or the pink and teal ombre. So now we have all our parts and pieces. We can start to assemble our page. And I like to play around with the pieces first to see where I want them to go. I had thought about doing the photo in a vertical orientation. So if it's something like a prom photo or something, you know, the person would be standing up and that would be more of a vertical photo. We can put the heart down there. Let's put the colorful butterfly at the top. Okay, we'll do something like that. It'll come together. So now all we're left to do is use some adhesive. A lot of people are doing scrapbooking these days in like smaller traveler's notebooks and such. I kind of like that idea too. Anything that's a little smaller than those big 12 by 12 albums. To me, I just get a little, I used to make 12 by 12 pages all the time. But now when I think about it, after making cards for so long, cards are so small and like smaller space to fill and they go together so quickly. I think about those bigger pages. I go, oh my goodness. So I do like a smaller scrapbook page if I'm going to do one. All right. So here we have our basic page laid out. I love that foil behind the photo spot there. And I always use white or black behind my photo so that it pops off the page a little better. Like if you put the photo directly on the foil piece, it doesn't pop as much as you put your photo on top of like black or white. Just a little border of black and white in between all these layers of color really help that photo to pop. So now I'm going to add my butterfly at the top. And if you'll notice, I only put adhesive on the tops of the wings here so that I can slide the photo underneath there. I'm not going to adhere that down. The photo will slide right underneath. And same with this heart at the bottom. I'm not going to adhere the part that's going to go over that photo a little bit. So we've got our maybe that can go up there. I'm changing it up. That one goes that way. All right, I think I like it like that. So I'm going to get out my giant roll of foam tape. I love our foam tape. This roll lasts me a good long time. So I'm going to pop some of these elements up off the page just a little bit. I love too that I can cut it with my scissors and it's not super sticky and tacky and doesn't get a lot of stuff on my scissors. So I'm going to pop up this butterfly that's going to sit here, and I'm going to pop the one up at the bottom too. All right, we did our heart, so let's adhere our little circle. It says, have a beautiful day. And these layouts look really nice too when your elements overlap. It always looks really nice if you have little something overlapping onto the photo frame and the other elements. When you space things apart and make them all separate, they kind of look like they're just floating. Okay, so this butterfly is facing this way, so we'll put this one going that way. All right, so look at that. This card maker has made a scrapbook layout. I can tell you this is the first scrapbook layout I have made since, I want to say 2013. That's probably the last time I really did some scrapbooking. So it's been almost 10 years. So you can still take all your card making goodies and make a great little scrapbook layout with them. And our little foilable cut-ups make it really easy to add these foiled images that are already pre-cut for you. Look at that. This is super sparkly. We got to have a really nice fancy photo to go in here, right? Okay. We've got, in just a few moments, we have Demo Donna joining us. I know she's got something super fun planned for you guys, but I want to go ahead and tell you real quickly again about our deals before I switch things over to Donna. So you enter the code NSD24 and you're going to get free shipping on an order $35 or more. So we've lowered that free shipping threshold with that code. So don't forget to use the code. And then you'll notice as you add things to your cart that you're going to have free items kind of pop in there along the way. I know we've got some free pearls, free stencils, paper pad, our Scrub It Clean cloth, which is really great for cleaning stamps and just anything, cleaning the brushes. Let's see what else. Oh, and if you purchase a mink machine this weekend, and all our deals run all weekend, if you purchase a mink machine this weekend, you're going to get a free roll of foil, a free roll of foil, the rainbow prism rainbow. And that's not all. One more thing, we have some giveaways going on. So on Monday, I'm going to go through all the comments on Facebook as well as YouTube, and we're going to pick 3 random winners to win $50 gift certificate to our site, pinkandmane.com. So we'll pick 3 random winners, and that's great, right? You can get more crafty goodies. So I'm going to wait just a moment here and let Donna give me a thumbs up. And then I'm going to mute myself and switch on over. And I hope you enjoy what Donna has in store. Thanks again for joining us.
Every time.
Hi, Donna. I'm going to mute myself.
There we go. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. I was making sure everyone is awake. That was a special alert. Are you awake? Can you hear me? Michelle, can you hear me? Just thumbs me up. Okay, good. Okay, great. This is you know, we're playing our dueling piano kind of gig here. So figuring out the mic and how to have fun together and craft together. And that was so exciting watching. I loved that page. It was gorgeous. Hello, everybody, and welcome to National Scrapbooking Day with an international twist. Michelle did it. I am really excited. I decided last minute to do a Mother's Day card, with Mother's Day being May 12th. And I don't know about you, but I haven't made anything yet. So I figured 2 birds, 1 stone, demo, card, done. We could ship that out and hopefully get there in time. I'm going to be playing with the water gems. I'm going to be playing with a April release stamp set, and actually an oldie but goodie. I mean, it's not that old, it's from February, but the Happy die and stamp set as well from the February Crafty kit release. So I'm going to show you some really great tips. Anyone kind of new to stamping, I'm going to show you some fun stamping tips so you don't have to be so intimidated. One of my favorite things to do is get you guys out of your comfort zone. All right, let's go to my table. All right, here we are. And to get started, I am going to take this gorgeous stamp. Now, this is the Adore You Florals, and this was released last month with all those beautiful butterflies and floral stamps and dies and foilables. So gorgeous. I definitely will be having these in my rotation for a long time. All of the different beautiful fluttery nature things. So I don't know about you guys, but I look at a stamp like this and I'm like, whoo, it's so pretty, but that is going to take me forever to color. And I'm going to be super judgy with my coloring because that's just how I am. So I'm going to show you guys how to take something really detailed like this, create something beautiful, and you don't have to fuss about not having a steady hand or coloring, and it's going to turn out lovely. So I actually stamped some out already, but I'm going to show you some tricks as I made like a couple different background papers how I did that. And I'm not using black ink. I am using a dark navy blue. Excuse me. I also just picked up a gray ink, which I'm going to be excited to play with as well. So again, something to kind of get yourself out of your comfort zone and use different color inks, especially, you know, when you're not going to be doing a traditional coloring. So I am inking up my whole stamp. And I did this a couple different ways. I started in the middle and then was stamping all around, and that just took too long. So a really great way to do this, I also have a little bit of scrap paper underneath. So a great way to do this is actually start on one end and get as much as your stamp design. Of course, I've got a glare, so I'm like, I can't see anything. And stamp that down. And give that a good amount of pressure. I am not directly over my stamp, so my fingers are just crossed right now that this is going to have a nice, good stamp out. All right, and pop that up. Woo, works for me. God, that's even gorgeous just on the piece of a card. What a beautiful stamp. You know it's a great stamp when you love it when you just stamp it out and nothing else is done. I can just stick a Happy Mother's Day and a butterfly on it and call it a day right there. All right, bye guys. Thanks for joining me. Just kidding. Okay, I am now going to ink that up again. And I fully cover it, even though I know I'm not fully using my whole stamp, but this way I can kind of move it around and pick and choose what I want to do next. So I'm going to do this part here, and it's okay if they overlap a little bit. So that's going to be my next stamp out. So what we're doing is creating our own beautiful background paper. And then I'm going to take this section here and do that third one. So again, just ink it all up. And for those of you popping on, make sure you go back or stay on to listen to Michelle talk about all of the great things happening today. And if you're watching the replay, thanks for joining us. And thank you to all those West Coasters who set their alarms and got up early on their Saturday morning to come and hang out with us over here at Pink and Main. Okay, that'll be my last stamp out. You can get a little tighter if you want, but I am going to be good with that. But again, just wanted to show you how quick and beautiful it is to create a nice, lovely background paper. So with this particular ink, because this is not a dye ink, so it takes a little longer to dry. It is a pigment ink. You have two choices. You can either throw some clear embossing powder on this, you can heat set it, or just make sure it dries for a little bit. Because the next thing I am going to do is take my adorable Happy die, and I'm running that through my die cut machine. And since I don't have a lot of room up here, I did it for you. So here is my cute little Happy. And let me show you the die set. And it is called Happy Hello Dies. So obviously this die is right here. But you've got all these fabulous sayings too, as well as some accent hearts. I'm also using the Happy Hello Die stamp set, which is great because you've got the Mother's Day, birthday for you, everything. So very happy. Father's Day, and you make me happy. So this is a great all-purpose stamp and die set. There are also foilables, which I was going to throw a foilable in here, but thank goodness Michelle did a ton of foiling, so then I'm just going to stick to stamping. All right, so I am going to pop this guy out. I'm going to take my pokey tool and we are going to be creating an eclipse card. So set my little die set aside, my little die, my big happy die. And you want to make sure you keep the inserts because we are going to be using those as well. And I am going to show you a couple of tricks with your fabulous water gems. So this is going to remain black and white as well as my insert pieces. So I am just going to take everything that's going to remain black and white and set it aside, you know, just right up there. We'll keep it safe. I mean, if it gets a little color on it, it'll be fine. Okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to take my scrap piece of paper as, again, I could have used a craft mat because, you know, I have, like you guys, like 5 of them. But I'm just going to do that. And then I am going to I am using my Easy Flow water brushes. And these are 6 different sizes. So I'm taking the second to largest size. And that is what I'm using to do my coloring today. And I know what you're thinking. Demo Donna, that brush is way too big for those tiny little flowers, but we're not going to paint each individual flower for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my lightest color first, since I'm going to go quickly and just kind of wipe my brush between coloring. And I'm going to make sure my brush is nice and wet. And this is not watercolor paper. Yes, you can use your watercolor paper. It's beautiful and fabulous, and it is also available at Pink and Main. So if you've never played with watercolor paper before, I highly recommend it. It is gorgeous. And I have a nice little collection of my water paper that, you know, I store like most of us when we buy nice things. Okay, I'm going to do some orange. Oh, we could even done splatter, which would have been pretty. And I am just I am just covering it up. And I'm going to show you another one where I actually went and colored it in. But I figured, you know, it's always good to see other options of what you can do if you don't have time and you don't have the patience. I mean, that's totally me. to sit and color something. So it's good to see the different options for sure. And too much water, we'll just scoop that up. Again, having my color mat here would be really smart. There we go. And if you have not played with your color gems, but you scooped them up because I used them in a demo, get them out. There is so much color in here. If you play around with them and you don't like what you did, it's not like you've used it all up and you can't go and do it some more. So lots of fun, lots of color, and there are so many different tips and techniques. There are some great videos on the Pink and Main YouTube channel as well on what to do with your water gems. So check that out. All right, I'm gonna lighten that up just a little bit. So I originally started, I was using watercolor pencils, and then I didn't like the brightness of the colors. And then I cut out my cute little butterflies and everything in cardstock, and I didn't like those colors either. So I'm like, okay, what am I doing? I'm just gonna create my own colors with the water gem so it's nice and bright. And then I can also have coordinating die cuts. So there is my happy. Really simple. If you want to blend your transitions a little bit better, you can absolutely do that. Just take your damp brush and just blend your transitions between colors. If you want it, this one actually turned out kind of nice. And there we go. There is my quick happy. We're gonna let that dry for a second. Another quick way to dry that is using your heat gun. Your paper will curl, but you can always just curl it back by folding it in the opposite direction of the curl. So I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'm just gonna show you what I did to make my little color swatches for my dies. So really simple technique. All I have to do is find the paper that I brought up here. Here we go. So I'm gonna take my paper, and I'm just gonna take a little mister, and I squirt my paper. So I just misted the top a little bit, and then I'm gonna take the color that I wanna do, and I just go over and just kind of work. I mean, it helps if you're working on the table, but I literally just did a scribble and did my color swatches, let them dry, and then ran them through my die cut machine to create my little butterflies and flowers and leaves that will then coordinate with my happy for my Happy Mother's Day card. Okay, now that that fun is done, we are going to take our black cardstock here. I'm going to set that guy aside again. Take my black cardstock here, and I'm going to adhere this. So really cool thing, if you've never created an eclipse card, there are several different ways to do it. You can do it by popping out the image like we're going to do with the happy. You can do it by setting the image down, so happy would be flat and this background would be popped up. You can do it with different shapes. So what I've kind of seen the main theme is that it's on colored, or not necessarily colored, but pattern paper. Like it's all one design, then you cut it out and you pop it up. So it looks like a little bit of an illusion. Okay, I am gonna take my glue. Very easy to do, and a kind of a fun little different look if you haven't created them before. All right, add some of my craft glue. There we go. I cannot believe May is so busy. We've got birthdays, we've got Mother's Day, we've got prom, we've got graduation. Whew. Teacher Appreciation Week next week. Shout out to all you awesome teachers. Busy making cards for all of the fabulous teachers at my son's school. Whew, we got to take care of our teachers, everybody. They are the rock stars. Okay, I am gonna tap that in there. Again, it's such a beautiful stamp set. Like, even that's cute. I love it. And I am gonna make sure, I'm gonna use this as a guide. I'm not going to adhere that yet, but I'm just gonna use it as a guide to where I place my little insert pieces. There we go. Make sure I get it right. I believe this guy goes here. Yep, I should have put glue on him. Come out, wherever you are. It's always the joy of learning how to use your fingernails again after you cut them all off. All right, so I'm gonna grab a little wet adhesive so I have some wiggle room and I can move that around. I'm gonna place that guy in there. My second one. It's time for new glue. There we go. And my third one. Okay, and now I'm going to lift this guy up. And I've got my happy. And now I'm going to show you guys a fabulous little trick. I know you guys love fabulous little tricks, so you're going to love this one too. It is all about a simple way to take your amazing, this is kind of one of the loves of my life, the foam. I know Michelle used it too, but the foam roll is awesome. But the foam roll is, I believe that's a 1/2 inch thick. Oh, it's not, because that's a 1/2 inch. But I feel like it's a little bigger than 1/4. Well, you know, it's on the website. I'm sure Michelle's correcting me right now. Okay, so I'm taking my foam, and I do want to show you guys, if you actually cut your foam roller with the backing bent, it tends to cut quicker and it doesn't stick to your scissors. So that is trick number one. Trick number two, any type of resist paper, removal paper, even backings of your foam tape, if you save those and you stick it on something like this, that helps it if you want skinnier strips. So now I'm going to take my foam and just cut it in half, and I did not have to worry about anything sticking to my scissors. And now I have all of these fun strips that I've put together for easy access when I want skinnier pieces for layering my cards. So a big part of your Eclipse card here, and these guys are 90% dry, is making sure you've got adhesive under everything so it's fully lifted and level. So I'm going to flip that over. Ooh, that even looks pretty. Okay, I'm just excited with everything today, clearly. Okay. So now I'm going to go pop my little foam pieces off. And the half of that is just perfect, which I love. Yay! Okay, I am going to just make sure that we've got a lift everywhere. This is normally something I would do so you didn't have to sit and watch. But since we colored it first, that wasn't an option. So sorry you have to see the behind the scenes of the cooking show here, where I piece all these little pieces together. You know, you get to see the magic, behind the scenes movie magic of card making on National Scrapbooking Day. All right, let's pop that guy up. And I am just going to cut a few more because we don't want any saggers. We need everything nice and lifted up, ready to be happy. Okay, I think I have 2 more left. one. Again, it's important with this look that you don't cut corners. And that's coming from a major crafty corner cutter. I do tend to kind of fast forward things sometimes and skip out on the important things. You know, like making sure everything actually is popped up. All right, I am now taking all of the backing off. And since these are so tiny, I wouldn't save them. But if I had a big strip of my foam roll and I took a big piece off, I would save that backing piece to use it as a double backing if I was going to cut it in half. And I know we save everything, so I bet there's some of you out there that have saved those and didn't know why. You just knew in the back of your head, I know Demo Donna's going to tell me I need to use this one day. I should save all the backing of my adhesives. And this is still a little wet, so I am double securing it before I peel the back off. I would say if you were going to air dry something like this, you're going to want to let it dry for probably at least, I mean, it's just water, so depending on where you are, probably at least 30 minutes. Or again, you can use your heat tool. Whew, that kind of worked. I was a little scared that I maybe stretched it out because my paper was wet. This guy's a little bendy. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it's a subtle lift, which is the point of the eclipse card. You could even put it off a little bit if you wanted it to stand out more, but I wanted to go for the total eclipse of the happy. And there we go. Very fun. And now I went ahead, like I said, and made my own little color swatches, and I die cut them. And these are the cutest tiny little butterflies from the Adore You floral. So I used the actual stamps and the actual dies. And really simple. When I'm doing something like a flower or a butterfly, I'm not overly picky. So I've got my tiny little butterfly there. I'm going to take that blue ink again, just stamp right into it because it's a nice bright dark color. I can just hover over top and stamp down. Voila! And I always make sure I die cut like 3 or 4. So if for some reason one stamps out kind of wonky, you can always go back and get another one. So I am going to now just pepper on some butterflies. I also did some flowers. I told Michelle I would be 30 minutes. I'm like, am I still in my time zone? Am I doing good? Okay, butterfly number 1. We're going to add our Happy Mother's Day. And I'm just going to go right over my happy. And I'm just going to throw a little bit of glue on there. And I just kind of went down the middle, so if I want to tuck some flowers, I can. So we're going to do right about there. Make sure it's straight. Wink, wink. Everything I do is crooked. It's a gift. I have the gift of crooked layering. Okay, I'm going to add my yellow flower here. I'm going to do a little sprig. And these flowers, the tiny little ones, these are the daisies. And then I believe these are from the envelope pop-up dies. So I just kind of went into my stash and I pulled out little flowers that I could find or some little greens. There's another little flower. And I think we're going to have this guy here. So you could see, just like Michelle said with your scrapbooking, when you layer things on, so even though my happy is covered, if you look at your card, you still see Happy Mother's Day. Like, you know it's there. So you don't have to worry too much because it's a big stamp. So it is kind of fun covering it up, playing around with that. I think I'm going to do this one and then call it a day. We're going to call it a National Scrapbooking Day. Okay. That is going to be it for those guys. I am now going to take the cutest, and this is Crafty Friends. I have out Summer Fruits and Crafty Friends glitter enamel dots. And these are really pretty. I love the size options because I wanted something big for the inside of my flowers here. And I think I'm going to go with this kind of orangey yellow color. And I'm going to do a big one in there. And a big one in this daisy. And I think I'm going to go back to my other one and maybe grab some pink. Maybe we'll do 2 pinks here. Maybe kind of more of this orangey color in this section. Okay, there is my Mother's Day card. Happy Mother's Day, or it could very easily be Happy Birthday, or Happy Everything, or Happy Father's Day, or Happy... There's so many things. I did want to show you. I didn't actually put this all together, but just so you could see if you colored in the flowers. This was my first little sample, and I liked making my own cardstock versus using that orange was too bright. The yellow was kind of too bright. So you could see the difference when you really tie in together your coloring and making your own paper out of those same colors. Looks very cool. Also some other cards I made with the Happy. And again, this was from the February Crafty Courtyard kit. So you can always go back and rewatch lives. And then a card I recently made with these adorable butterflies. They're just so cute. Again, that was stamped with the blue. And this is a class I am teaching with our little fun butterflies. They're adorable. Again, make sure you check out all the cool things that Michelle is offering. And thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Back to you, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Donna. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for everybody for joining in, and I hope you enjoyed Donna's Mother's Day card. That was beautiful. She can send that on to me so I can give it to my mom because I haven't made one for my mom yet. Oh, no. All right. So started out, we made a scrapbook layout, and now we're going to make a couple cards. So I'm going to head on down to the table. It takes me a second to switch my camera here. All right. So this is a scrapbook layout that we created in the first part of the video. So I encourage you, if you're joining in a little later, when you have some time, go back and watch the beginnings, watch us create this layout. We foiled this pink part here, believe it or not, with our white cheer foil on one of our floral backgrounds, foilable sheets. And then we ink blended over it, and we got this really cool kind of pink and purple look. And then we foiled our amazing butterfly cut-ups and added to this layout. And as I was saying, it's perfect for a prom photo or even a Mother's Day photo. Maybe I can get a photo with my mom and add it to this layout. So you can take all of your card making, paper crafting supplies, and whether you're a card maker, a scrapbooker, or both, you can mix and match and use them for anything that you want, anything that your creative heart desires. Pull out your supplies and use them because that's what they're for. All right, so now we're going to make a little shaker card. I've got one of our full shaker covers. This is our mini slimline shaker covers. I'm going to turn on our mini ink machine because we're going to do a little bit of foiling again. We're going to make a mini slimline card, which my mini slimline cards are 6 inches by 3.5. What I love to do is take our pre-scored and cut slimline cards, which are 8.5 by 3.5, and I cut 2.5 inches off the end. I then can take that 2.5 inches of cardstock and use it to stamp sentiments or other images on. I don't waste it, but that way I easily make a mini slimline card, which is 6 by 3.5 when folded. Right here I have a sheet of our More Bright Ombres colored toner sheets. So you can see it looks like an ink blended piece of paper, but this is toner printed. So we give you more options than just black when you want to use that negative foil piece. So this one, I've cut it out. So we have beautiful greens into pinks here at the top. We are going to foil it with that piece of white foil, the negative, that we used in the scrapbook layout. So we've got that beautiful floral pattern on here, and we're going to foil it onto our colored toner sheet. So I mentioned the first thing you want to do is you want to dust off your toner sheet and usually the back of your foil. I'm going to skip that little step this time. We're just going to go for it. Once again, I'm going to use our longer transfer folder, and I get the longer transfer folder from the original Mink transfer folders, which come with a 12 by 12, and I cut it down. I cut it in half, and then I cut a few inches off the end because I don't need anything that's 12 inches usually, and I end up with a folder that's 6 by 9 is how I cut it. So I can foil our foilable sheets in it, which are 8.5 by 5.5. So let's run this through the ink machine and see what we get with that really pretty white foil on the ombre toner sheet. Hope everyone is enjoying their Saturday. Truly appreciate you joining us today. Hope we're doing some fun, creative things that spark some of your creativity. That's what it's all about anyway. The longer folder does take a few extra seconds to run through, hence the reason again why I cut off a few inches from it so that I don't wait for a 12-inch folder to run through when I'm not using the full 12 inches. All right, we do want to let this cool off a few seconds. While we do that, I'm going to foil some other pieces for our card. So I got my smaller folder because I'm just going to foil some smaller pieces. Everything's sticking together here, a little static. One thing about foil you'll notice, it's a little staticky. Static cling to your desk, to each other, to paper. I've got another butterfly from our Amazing Butterfly cut-ups. And I'm just going to gently dust that off with my finger. And I'm going to make this an anniversary card. So I've got Happy Anniversary, which is also from the Amazing Butterfly cut-ups. It's already pre-cut for you in that little flag ends there. I'm going to foil it in a sparkle green. And I'm going to do the butterfly in our boysenberry, which is a beautiful like magenta. It's between pink and purple. It's very pretty. So let's get these foiled. It's going to be a really simple card, but it's going to be gorgeous with that foiled look and that unique background paper we're creating with the white foil on that colored toner sheet. All right, I'm going to remove these from the folder, but I'm not going to do the peel and reveal yet. We're going to let them cool. But look at that. You can almost already see how cool this is going to look. We're going to peel and reveal. Oh, yes. I'm going to set this foil out of the way. We're done with that. Now we've got this beautiful, you can turn it either way, this beautiful ombre, like blended color background with the white flower pattern. Isn't that cool? I love using the negative of your foil pieces. That way you don't waste and you use the entire piece of foil. That's going to be our background of our card. And I think I like the green at the bottom. I imagine like flowers growing, so I want like green at the bottom for the stems. Let's go ahead and peel and reveal our butterfly that we did with boysenberry. Look at that. Came out beautiful. And our happy anniversary sentiment, which also came out perfect. Love that. And again, you can keep these negative foil pieces and foil them onto full toner printed sheets. So we've got that beautiful butterfly. We could put that on a colored toner sheet or a black toner sheet, or we have white toner sheets now, so you can put that on any of the full coverage toner sheets. That way you get a lot of usage out of your foil. So let's first make our shaker cover. So we have several sizes of our shaker covers. This is the mini slimline. So when I fold these sides in, it's going to be 6 by 3.5 inches. We also have a slimline. We have an A2, and we have a small A2, which you can put on your A2 cards, and it has a bit of a frame around it. So the first thing I like to do is I like to take all of the little tabbed edges. They're already scored for you, and they already have adhesive on the back, so they're ready to use. You don't even have to worry about what adhesive you're going to use for them. They already have adhesive. I like to just pre-fold them. Kind of gets them like ready to go. And then I bring them back out flat because it has a protective film on it. So we want to remove that protective film. I have a hard time getting it with my fingernails. So what I use is our pick up and place tool. It has a wax end for picking up little sequins and pearls and embellishments. And it has what I call a pokey tool at the other end. So we're going to use that pokey tool. And I go to a corner and I just kind of push it into that plastic cover I try not to stab myself too, so I'm trying to be careful not to go too hard and stab myself. There we go. So once I pick up this plastic cover with the pokey tool, I just peel it off. So you can simply just peel this off and you can discard this. It's just a protective layer to keep your acetate looking nice, clean, shiny, and free from scratches or mars or anything like that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create a pocket. Now I want our background to be inside the pocket. So what I've done is, and it tells you the measurements on the packaging. I'm not going to remember right off the fractions that you cut it, but you want it slightly smaller than 6 by 3.5. That way the sides can fold down nice, neat, and straight, and it won't give you any buckling or puckering because it's too big. So you want to cut the panel that goes inside just slightly smaller than the pocket will be when it's folded. But as I mentioned on the packaging, it tells you exactly the size to cut your panels. So I lay it down flat on my surface and I get my panel here in the center. I hold it where I want it in place, just hold it down to the table, and I fold one side over, pressing it down and also holding it flat on the table. And I'm just going to go around and I'm going to do that same thing with 3 sides. You don't want to do the 4th one yet. We're going to do 3 sides. So I'm just holding my panel in place and I'm folding the tabs on the side, folding them down. You just remove the release paper, which is quite simple to remove. It's not hard to get off. So now I have 3 sides adhered down on the back. When we flip it over, this is what we got on the front, and it's a pocket. So the top is still open. So we can add any kind of little sequins or embellishments. We have lots of confetti sequins on our site. And I have already poured out in this dish, just like the name says, this is our diamond confetti sequins. Doesn't it look like a bowl of diamonds? They're so sparkly and pretty. They're a bit clear, but also a bit mirrored. So it just gives that really, really sparkly, shiny finish. So you can pour in as little or as much as you want. The sequins can be staticky, I will tell you, from packaging all the bags of them. They jump and pop everywhere sometimes. They have a little bit of static cling, but I put about that much down there in the bottom. You just want enough to shake around, but not be too thick and bulky. So I'm going to flip it over to the back, and I'm going to go ahead and, while I'm holding it down to the table again, that's important because you want it to be nice and flat and straight. I'm going to remove the release paper and fold that last tab over. So now we have our shaker pocket. These are so fun. I love making these. And when you give these to someone, they can't believe that you made it yourself. But it's got that beautiful foiled ombre piece in the background. That white foil is just nice white and shiny. It's not iridescent or pearly, so it really does give a different look. So if it was really sparkly and shiny like a foil, it might be too much with these sparkly sequins, if you know what I mean. I always say you can never have too much sparkle and shine, but sometimes you can mix the wrong sparkle and shines together and it can be overwhelming. But with the foil, the white foil, the way it looks, a little more matte and shiny, that it really does go with these sparkly sequins. Oh no, Carrie. Doggies come first. Make sure he doesn't get hurt in the sliding door. I want to thank you again for joining me and Donna today. National Scrapbook Day, International Scrapbook Day, whatever you call it. We did make a scrapbook layout. I can't believe this card maker made a scrapbook layout. It's been so long, but it was lots of fun. So if you have to catch the replay, be sure to go back and check out the beginning, and you don't want to miss the Mother's Day card that Donna made. So now I want to adhere my shaker panel to my card base. Our card bases are 110-pound white cardstock, so they're nice and sturdy. You want a nice sturdy card base to be able to support one of the shaker pockets. You also want to use a nice strong adhesive. So I'm going to use some of our Easy Tear tape. It comes in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/8 of an inch. And if I had a 1/2 inch roll, I would probably prefer to use that so I get a little bit more coverage. But I've only got the 1/4 inch on my table, but that should work fine. It's a nice, strong, sturdy adhesive, but I love and call it Easy Tear tape because you can simply tear it with your hand. Nice and easy. I like things that are nice and easy to use. We don't want crafting to be a struggle. When you struggle with things, it gets frustrating. You want to give up. So I like to make things simple and easy as possible so that when you create, it's fun and enjoyable. Just going to add another small piece. I do want to cover, most of this because this shaker pocket's going to be, it's a little bit heavier than just a piece of cardstock sitting on top of your card. We'll lay that up there. So just press the tape down. And then I can just remove the release paper. And the release paper comes off quite easily from our tapes. Even our foam tape, the release paper, it just kind of comes off, not too difficult. If you do struggle using your fingernails to get the release paper off, you can use that pokey tool on our pick up and place tool. You can just stick that on there and peel the release paper off with that as well. But I'm using the tool that I use most of all in the craft room. As Donna says, I heard it first from Donna. I giggled when she said it. Your finger tool. That's the tool you use most often, right? Okay, so now I'm just going to place this down on the card front. And we have our shaker card. All right, we're not done yet. I'm going to add some other elements here, like we've already foiled our butterfly and our sentiment. I apologize if you can hear my little dog Echo. He's nesting in the corner back behind me. It's kind of scratching at the wall and the carpet. You have to make the spot perfect. So I have cut a little strip about 1.5 inches wide of our silver glitter paper that I'm going to put on the side of the card there. I thought the silver glitter paper looked really nice with these diamond sequins inside. Now to add a little more color back into the card, because we covered most of that colored foilable sheet with the white foil, I cut a piece of that same foilable, but I didn't put any foil on it. We're just going to leave it the colors. So that's going to really pull out the colors from the background, having the little sweet, oh, I'm reading a comment. I said sweet. I lost my train of thought. Having a bit of that color on the top to pull out from the background. Yeah, we just got to hope no one comes into the store here in our warehouse while I'm live, because he may start barking. If he hears someone come in, he sometimes barks to let us know that someone's coming in the door. So hopefully that won't happen. Okay, so there's our card so far. So we have our shaker pocket, we have that foiled background, and then we have our colored piece with that little bit, see how that little bit of silver glitter paper just makes that pop, and you've got the color there. I'm loving how this is turning out. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to add our butterfly and our happy anniversary sentiment. Super simple card, but it has that wow factor with the different foil elements and the glitter paper and those diamond sequins. If you do watch any of our other videos, you'll notice, and I say it a lot, I do sweet and simple cards, but they just have a little bit of wow factor, but they're easy to duplicate back at home. I want it to be something that sparks your creativity and go, hey, I can do that. All right, I think I want my butterfly to touch that anniversary banner just a little bit down there at the bottom. When things overlap and kind of group together, it grounds everything. And look at that. Made a gorgeous card. Love these shaker cards. So now you don't have to be afraid of shaker cards. Look how easy that went together by just putting that panel behind there and folding the corners around it to create a pocket, and then load it with your favorite sequins, and voila. You can decorate the outside. So fun. You could even die cut some little butterflies and put them inside the pocket, and you could have little butterflies floating around with the sequins. That would have been really cute too. All right. I want to thank you again for joining us today. If you're joining us live, we really appreciate that. If you're watching the replay, thank you for that. Be sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We really love to build our subscribers. That way you'll always get notified when we do a video. And we do have some deals going on this weekend, May 4th and 5th, 2024. We've got some free with purchase items that'll pop into your cart as you're placing your order. If you use NSD24, you'll get free shipping at $35 within the US. And what am I forgetting? If you purchase a Mink machine this weekend, you're going to get a free roll of our rainbow prism foil. And then also you'll want to leave a comment either on Facebook or on YouTube underneath the video, because on Monday, the 6th, we're going to be choosing 3 random comments to win a $50 gift certificate or store credit to our website. So that's exciting. And please note, I know with giveaways sometimes there are scammers and spammers out there taking every advantage they can. Please note that we will never ask you for your personal information or anything like that. When I choose the winners, I'm going to go and leave a comment on your comment. I'll leave a comment or a reply to your comment letting you know that you won. And you can email us. We'll never ask on a public forum for personal information or anything. I just want to say that because I've seen people out there just trying to scam people thinking they've won something and they're just looking for personal information and such. Okay, that's a side topic. Sorry. There's just so much of that stuff going on these days. It's sad. All right, I think we'll foil our pieces first on this card. And then we'll do our stenciling. We're going to use our radiating butterfly stencil. But let's go ahead and foil a couple of elements that I want on here. All right, we're going to use the pink teal ombre foil after we do our stenciling. That'll be a little fun thing to show you. But I'll go ahead and foil our sentiment piece. This is from our Amazing Butterfly Cut-Ups. It says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." There's a really pretty moth-like butterfly on there. And then I've got a little strip, a little 1/2-inch strip of black toner sheet. I want just a little strip of shiny silver at the bottom of my card. So I'm going to foil these together with some of our Fairy Wings silver. It's one of my favorite silvers because it's holographic, so it shines with other colors. I'm just going to go to the back so that I can place them so that they're not overlapping each other. And we'll run them through the ink machine. I hope you're all enjoying the weekend, maybe getting some crafty time squeezed in. I know the weather has been really nice here. So hopefully you've enjoyed some nicer spring weather. Sometimes it's hard to stay inside and craft when the weather is really nice. Unless you have allergies. Pollen's been really bad too, so that's something to consider. So we always let this cool off before we peel and reveal. You can almost look at a foiled piece when it comes out of the transfer folder and tell if it's going to be a nice foil because you'll just get a nice smooth foiled surface there where your paper is. I'd love to see that. So I've got beautiful silver strip. And now we'll peel our butterfly image. I love that silver. Very pretty. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to leave this image with a white background or I'm going to put some ink on it. So I'm going to set it aside and we will do our stenciling and then we can decide if it needs to be a bit more color or if the white will look nice. I've got a top folding A2 size card in our Night Sky purple cardstock. With our stitched rectangles set 2, I've cut a rectangle that's 4 by 5 1/4, and that's what we're going to do our stenciling on. I'm going to use my Misty, the sticky mat. We sell these at Pink and Main. I really like this for stenciling. Holds my paper in place and then holds my stencil in place as well. I can put my paper along the guidelines if I want to, but don't really have to necessarily because it does hold it in place. All right, so our radiating butterfly stencil comes with 2 stencils, and there's 4 areas with butterflies that are cut out. So we're going to use 3 ink colors, and then we're going to do a little something special with that 4th area. So I'll set the second one aside. Now I'm going to pick where I want this on my paper. And I'll just kind of stick it down. I'm going to use our Night Sky ink pad. Anybody else messy with inks? I always feel like I open an ink pad and go, oh my gosh, how much is going to end up on my fingers and everywhere else? It's just me. So I'm using these ink daubers. My friend Yoli at the Makers Session introduced these ink daubers, and we sell them at Pink and Main, and they're one of my favorite tools for adding ink to paper through stencils or coloring die cuts. They pick up so much ink, so you get nice, vibrant ink coverage, quick and simple and easy. You could do this with a blender brush. I just get it quick, simple, dabbed on here, dab in the ink, and then dab onto the stencil. And I love this part. The sponges come off, and we have replacement sponges. The wand actually comes with replacement sponges, but we also sell the sponges separately. So you pull the sponge off when you're done with it, and you can replace it with another one. So you really only need one tool, or you could have a couple and have different colors on the ends. I have a couple of them here just because I'm switching ink quickly, but I really like that you can replace the sponge because sponges are not going to last forever. Just the nature of the sponge and you know, popping it up and down or rubbing it on paper, not going to last forever. But they are replaceable here, so you don't have to, you know, replace a whole tool. You're just replacing the little sponge tips. All right, I did my purple. Now I'm going to go ahead. The stencil has 2 little rectangles in the 2 corners of each set of butterflies. I'm going to add a little purple to the mat so that I can see where to put the next set of butterflies. All right, so let's close this purple ink. It's dark and it's going to end up all over if I don't. I just know it. Sorry, I'm a messy crafter. All right, so just pull this up. I can see those purple little rectangles just well enough on my sticky mat that I know where to place the stencil. And the next, let's see, the next layer, I have 3 colors here. The next layer we'll do is Dress Shop, which is our nice dark pink. Yes, I'm using a Misty sticky mat. I really like these for stenciling. They have just enough grip. They hold the stencil and my paper in place. we have the small ones, the mini ones that fit in the mini Misty, and we have the regular size as well. I like the mini one when I'm coloring little small die cuts, because you can just stick the die cuts right onto the little mat, the smaller mini Misty mat. And using these ink dauber wands, I can color the smaller die cuts. So this radiating butterfly stencil is just going to create a beautiful, like, circle of butterflies flying out from the circle. And like I said, doing little detailed stencil like this with the dauber wands, look how quick and easy that it's going on. And I just realized, well, we'll cover that up with our, little oopsies are always fixable, but I just went off my stencil with my ink. It's okay, right? It happens to us all. Okay. All right, we're ready to go to our second stencil and do a third layer of butterflies. I'm going to set the stencil aside out of the way so I won't get ink on anything, and I will clean that up in a bit. Okay, so we still have 2 more areas of butterflies to add, but you can see how it's going right now. You can see my little ink mess up, but we can put that strip of silver right across there, and you won't even know it was there. All right, I'm going to line up those rectangles again. And next up, we're going to use Lakeside. It's a nice teal. If you want a more muted look, you can always ink up your dauber wand and dab off some of the ink onto scratch paper until you get the tone that you're looking for. I like these colors, nice, bright, bold for these butterflies. Okay. Now, I told you we were going to do something fun for the last layer. So we are going to foil the last layer of butterflies. And normally through a stencil, I would use our glossy gel, because once our glossy gel is dry, you can foil over it. But on a live video, I can't do the gel and then foil it, because you have to let the gel dry. The gel needs to be dry in order to foil it. So what we can use that will dry quicker is we can either use a Zig glue pen or a quickie glue pen, because they dry tacky and they dry pretty quickly. Or we can use a glaze gel pen. And we have all of these on our website as well. I'm going to try the gel pen. Let's see how. And I'm just going to go through And I'm just going to quickly like color in the butterflies with the gel pen. And these glazed gel pens are really nice to write with too. Their ink looks like you've embossed your handwriting. It has a raised, little bit of a raised surface when it dries. So they're really pretty ink pens to write with. And this just takes a little bit longer than the dabbing of the ink, but I think we'll really enjoy the foiled butterflies as the result. Again, you can use our glossy gel or another foiling gel and just spread it over the stencil and let it dry. And you could foil that. We're going to use the pen here. Okay. I just bled some ink underneath because I stopped for a second to look up at the comment, make sure there was no question. And that's what you have to be careful when the ink comes out of these really, it just flows. It flows nicely actually for when you're writing, but it will flow right underneath the stencil if you're not careful. It did in that one spot. That's okay. It's still going to be pretty. It's going to be, oops. Don't forget this guy. And make sure I got, oh, there's a little one on the edge here. Okay. Yes, so the glaze pen you can foil over, and we sell the black, white, and clear. So it's a nice white gel pen also. All right, so we'll clean that stencil later. We're gonna have to let this ink dry. Yeah, and you know, if you fold the sticky mat, your cardstock will pop off a lot easier. I've used mine several times, so it's not quite as sticky. Right now, it has like the perfect tack to it after you use it a few times. Okay, so here's our panel for our card so far. It's not perfect. It's not what I wanted it to be, but I'm going to recreate this card later and do it a little neater because I wasn't real careful over here and my ink bled. So those butterflies are a little smeared, but I think it'll still be pretty once we add the foil. We'll just call them unique butterflies. Not everything in nature is perfect, right? We do want that ink to dry, so I'm going to just kind of wave it. I clean my stencil with my our microfiber Scrub It Clean cloth and our Crafty cleaner. You can also sometimes just use, run to the sink, use a little soap and water, wash them off in the sink, whatever is the easiest and most convenient for you. Stencils come clean fairly easily. All right. That one's a little wet right there, but it's so thick where it bled under. little disappointed in that, but that like you said, can always recreate it. We learn, we have to be careful with the ink. Okay, so I'm going to put the ombre pink teal cheer foil on that, and we're going to foil it. Yeah, baby wipes are good for stencils too. Yeah, with the glazed gel pens, you can, foil your own handwriting. So if you want to sign your cards, and then I would sign the inside first and then foil it and then embellish the outside. That way you can run the entire card through the ink machine to foil your handwriting. I'm going to turn the ink machine off because we are done foiling for now. We'll move it out of the way a bit. Anybody else like me, and you end up crafting with all your stuff around you and you've got like 6 inches in the center. All right, so let's peel that foil away. And we have some inked butterflies and then those pretty foiled ones. Yeah, it came out not so bad, right? Not too shabby. Okay, so now we want to put our card together. I'm going to get inky ink daubers out of arm's way. Will be on my arm, guaranteed. Let's pull in some of these sequins. I've got idea. All right, like we mentioned, couldn't decide if I was going to leave this white or do it purple. I think I'd actually like to color it a little bit. Or we could pop, maybe if we pop it up. I'll put some foil underneath it. Not foil, foam. I'll put some foam underneath it. But first I'm going to add my silver strip. And I'm going to add that right over that little spot where I smudged my ink. Look at that, it disappears. Okay, smudge gone. All right, I want to add a little ribbon to this card. I love adding ribbons to cards. Just adds a little extra texture that's nice when you're just using paper and foil. So I put a little adhesive on the back ends of the ribbon. And then I just wrap it behind my card and secure it at the back. Just like so. So now we have a little ribbon along with that silver stripe. And now we can adhere this panel down to our card base. There we go. And then I always like to tie a little knot. And the spot where I'm going to tie the knot, I put a little adhesive on the ribbon that's going to hold the knot in place. So we simply slide that ribbon underneath. Make a simple little knot, just like you're tying your shoes, but without the bow. I pull it tight and then I let it relax, and then I press it down with my finger a little bit. Press it into that adhesive. It also presses it a little more flat. Oh yeah, I say pull out that ribbon and use it. I have so much ribbon as well, and I sit it in drawers and it's all organized and looks so pretty in there. And I think, oh, it's just like pretty papers, right? You say, oh, I'm going to save that for the perfect project. Oh, it's going to be perfect for something. You know, it's perfect for what you're doing right now. So just use it. It'll bring you just as much joy, I think, if it looks great on your project as it does looking pretty in your drawer. Okay, so we've got our little knot. I'm going to grab some more foam tape. We're going to pop that sentiment piece up. Hey, don't start making a mess here. Everything's sticking together, rolling around. Okay, we're going to add this to the center. Let's see. Should we leave it white or should we make it purple? I'm still stuck on making it purple. I'm going to try it purple. Can't hurt anything. It'll just match the card base a little better. And it'll look nice with that silver. I get asked a lot whether you should ink something and then foil it, or foil and then ink something. And if you're using a dye ink, I'm going to use the back of this package to ink over. I say it's best to ink after foiling because the foil will resist the ink, because you don't want anything on that toner print that's going to interfere with the foiling. But if you're just using a dye ink, you can ink and then foil. I mean, it does work. The dye ink doesn't really cover the toner enough to interfere with foiling too much. So if you're using a dye ink, you could do it either way. But I say if you're not sure, do your foiling first and then add your ink. Oh, these wands add the ink so nicely, so easy to color small die cuts like this. You just tap that ink on. I kind of tap and push a little bit. You don't want to rub it too much. You don't want to tear the sponge out of the holder, but just kind of tap and push that ink on there. Okay. So a few extra seconds, and I think I got the look I wanted. Had in mind that should be purple, and so we made it happen. So there we go. See you can still see the really shiny foil. It resists the ink. If I had a cloth here, I would kind of just go over it and, kind of buff the foil a little bit, you might say, to get any ink that might, but it resists the ink. So you can see that they are still super sparkly. Yes, I think that looks much better in purple. It kind of pops out of the center there. So let's add it to the card. Yes, that iridescent silver looks really pretty with that purple ink. Really does. So just pop that in the center of our butterflies. There you go. Hopefully the camera's picking up all that pretty sparkle. Okay. Let's pull out our other card and our scrapbook layout real quick. Don't forget all the free with purchase items they're going to add to your cart over on our website. Here's the other card we made, the shaker card. If you're just joining us, be sure to take some time to watch the replay later so that you can see how we created this card. You'll definitely want to check out Demo Donna and her Mother's Day card, which was earlier. And the first thing we made was this fun scrapbook layout. So we used our card making supplies to make a scrapbook layout. So fun, so pretty with all that foil. So we have the deals going on, the free things that are adding to your cart. If you purchase the Mink machine this weekend, you're going to get that free roll of foil. Hi there. I thought I'd come back and speak to you myself. And you use NSD24 this weekend, you're going to get free shipping within the US at $35. So lots of little deals and freebies for you. And don't forget to like and comment and even share the video if you like with your crafty friends. The more the merrier, right? But you'll want to leave a comment either on Facebook under the video or on YouTube under the video, because on Monday, May 6th, we're going to draw 3 winners to win a $50 store credit to our website. So we'll have 3 winners chosen on Monday, and I will randomly pick the comments and I will reply under your comment. So you check back on Monday at the end of the day, check your comments, see if I've replied, and I'll announce the winners as well. But I want to thank you so much for joining us, spending some of your Saturday with us. Happy National or International Scrapbooking Day. Whether you're a scrapbooker or card maker or other paper crafter, we all can enjoy our passion for just creating with our hands and being creative. And I hope you've enjoyed what we've created today. So thanks again, and we will see you all next time. Until then, keep living the creative life.